Hi everyone, it's Evangeline here at etrailer, and today we'll be taking a look at our Hollywood Rack's Destination 4 bike rack. This is a platform style bike rack right here on our 2015 Toyota 4Runner. If you want to carry around multiple bikes, let's say you have your 4Runner filled up with your friends and your family and you all want to go for a bike ride, but you want something a little sturdier than a hanging style rack, but not as pricey as, let's say, the 4 by Kuat NV, that might be where you're interested in the Hollywood Rack's Destination bike rack. So it's an affordable, lightweight 4-bike platform rack. So we'll take a look in this video to see if this is the right fit for you, your bicycles, as well as your situation. This bike rack cannot tilt away, so if you want to access your hatch, you will have to take your bikes off, unless, since this is a 4Runner, you could also just lower the windows right over here if you need to access it really quickly. But if you do want to open your door all the way open, then you will have to take your bikes off. This does have a 35-pound weight capacity per bike, so if you do have extra heavy electric bikes, probably not going to the best fit. Even my heavier women's bike is too heavy for this rack, so just keep that in mind concerning your own bike's weight. Now, the way our bike is mounted to this bike rack is at 3 points. So we have 1, 2 wheel straps, and that's where we start when we want to take the bike off. You press that lever and you pull that strap up. So it's for the front wheel and the rear wheel. But what's really interesting about this bike rack is its frame mount. So notice how you have this short mast. That's to help you out so you don't have to maneuver your bike too much to take it off. And you also have this frame mount. This is a 360-degree frame mount, meaning you can move this up, down, left, right, as well as rotate it. So this is so that you can accommodate bike frames of different shapes and different sizes. Now, the tricky part is on other vehicles, you have to reach over your bike rack to access your frame mount on your farthest bike. But in our case with the 4Runner, we actually have plenty of clearance that we can access it from right over here. So just hold on to your bike or support it as you press that lever and remove the strap, and then you can now lift it up and over that mast and you're ready to go for a ride. Don't forget to put your straps back so they're nice and neat and not flopping around as you drive around. Now, when you do have any accessory on your hitch, there's going to be some length added to the back of your 4Runner, especially so with the Hollywood Rack's Destination bike rack. Since it is a platform rack, it's significantly longer than a 4-bike hanging style rack. So measuring from our bumper right there to the furthest point, which is by these reflectors over here, we have a length of about 43 inches added to the back of our 4Runner. Since our vehicle is already such a larger car compared to your smaller SUVs or sedans, you may have issues when it comes to backing into your garage, fitting into your garage, or parking into a tight space, so please keep that in mind. Now, ground clearance will not be an issue in your case, but we'll take some measurements just to have them. So measuring from underneath the wings to the ground, it sits at about 26 inches. Measuring from the center of our bike rack to the ground, it's 31 3/4 inches. And measuring right at the shank and the hitch connection, it's about 17 3/4 inches. So ground clearance, usually when you go up steep inclines like your driveways or hills, your front goes up, your back goes down. But in our case with our 4Runner and this bike rack, plenty of ground clearance. Now, before we fold this up to make it more compact, we have to lower this mast. To do so, you have this knob right over here, so rotate that knob just enough so you can take this stand out and to the side, then tighten it back down so it's not in the way. And then you can lower this mast. So you have different options for securing that mast in the stowed position. What I actually like to do is I use the wheel strap and repurpose it to strap down this mast, and now it's nice and neat. Now let's fold this bike rack up so it's a lot more compact. So we have this pin or this clip right over here. We're going to remove that clip so that we can rotate this bolt. Now this bolt has this handy hand knob, so it's a lot easier to remove it. You can just let that hang. It does have a strap or a string to hold it up. As you bring this up, line it up with that bolt hole, and then pop this back in, tighten it down, Once you have that tightened down, don't forget the clip. Now with our bike rack folded up, let's take a look at some measurements. First is the closest point between our vehicle and our bike rack. We have plenty of clearance here, about 6 inches of clearance. No issues at all about this accidentally making contact with our 4Runner. The length added to the back of our vehicle is now from the bumper to right where that shank is, about 15.5 inches. That's kind of the furthest point even with this wing span. Now, one thing about it with it folded up though is while it does definitely make it more compact, you'll probably have more space in your garage when you have this parked. It does cover a bit of the behind of your vehicle. It comes right up over here, kind of in line with our rear window, so that's good because we're not covering our vision from there. It's not covering our taillights, so that's good too, keeps you safe on the road. Now your backup camera is offset to the left and sits right over there, right where that bar is. So you're definitely gonna see your bike rack through your backup camera. You may be able to see out behind it, but since it also covers your license plate a bit, if that's gonna be a major issue for you, you may wanna consider riding along with this bike rack in the down position. Now let's talk about how this bike rack fits into our hitch. So this has a 2-inch shank, fits into our 2-inch hitch receiver. What I also have is our hitch pin alignment collar. So this collar, you install it after the first time you install the bike rack, and it allows you to, instead of having to look back and forth each time before you install that bolt, you can just pop that into place and it stops you right there. Now let's talk about our anti-rattle bolt. Now our anti-rattle bolt also has a lock and a key just to help prevent or deter theft. You can also tighten it down with a tool they give you, but I recommend doing what I do, which is I use a 3/4 socket and a wrench. Makes it so much easier to use and install. To demonstrate how that anti-rattle bolt works though, as you have it threaded in, then as we shake our bike rack just to simulate that road vibration, the road stress, or road movement, notice how I'm mainly moving the vehicle at this point because that fit is nice and secure. Here on our test course, we'll start by going through the slalom. This is going to show us the side-to-side action, which simulates turning corners or evasive maneuvers. Once we get to the alternating speed bumps, we'll see the twisting action. This will simulate hitting a curb or a pothole or driving over uneven pavement. So my personal thoughts about the Hollywood Rack's Destination Bike Rack for our 4Runner is it's definitely a good option if you do not have extra heavy bikes and you just want a platform rack without the extreme 4x platform rack price. I definitely recommend it over a hanging style rack because your bikes are more sturdy on there and it's less of a height to reach up onto for a hanging style rack. Your downsides are that you do again have less weight capacity and that it's a larger rack. But if those are perfectly fine for you, then it's still a great pairing for your 4Runner. So that was a look at our Hollywood Rack's Destination 4x platform rack here on our 2015 Toyota 4Runner.